In this video, I will explain another concept, domain name system, DNS. As we know, we, the people or human being, are having identity numbers like social security numbers, passport numbers, Aadhaar numbers, etc. But we prefer to use our names than this kind of numeric addresses. In case of internet host and routers, each entity will be having a unique IP address, but all the entities will have some naming associated with this IP address. So, somewhere it has to be stored the mapping between the IP address and the name. Why? Because at the application layer where the human being is interacting to the internet, he uses names like yahoo.com, gmail.com, amazon.com, like that. But internally, all the layers are using the IP addresses for the communication. So, DNS is a client server program and there will be an IP address and there will be some name, and the IP address must be unique, similar to that domain name must also be unique, and there must be a directory structure to keep the mapping between the name and addresses. Then the question arises here is how to map between IP address and name and vice versa. For this, we use the concept domain name system. Then, what are the main services provided by the domain name system? As we said, the first bullet, same concept is explaining the service offered by DNS is hostname to IP address translation, and the reverse translation IP address to hostname. Then some additional services like host aliasing, mail server aliasing, etc. also provided by the DNS services. Host aliasing means some host will have some large labels or names, and those bigger names or larger names can be represented with small names that are easy to remember. Such kind of host to host naming translation, that is bigger name represented by smaller name, this is known as host aliasing. Similar to that, mail server aliasing means another name given to a particular mail server. These are also the services of the DNS. But the important service is host to IP address and IP address to host name. This is the point which we are going to see on the coming slides. What are the steps to map a host name to IP address? First step is the user passes the host name to FTP client. Here the topic is DNS. Don't confuse that this is something which I am explaining about FTP. But what is the relevance of FTP here is FTP client or any application program similar to FTP, just like mail service or online shopping services or email services, any service can be replaced here. So as in this figure it is explained with FTP, I also mentioning here the FTP client. Okay, so whatever application software passes the host name, that is amazon.com, yahoo.com, gmail.com, or any host name given by a particular application program client, then this will be passing into the DNS client. So as we said in the previous slide, DNS is application which is running in the pattern client server architecture. So DNS will have a DNS client and a DNS server. DNS client is installed in the local machine of the where the application program is running. So the client request for the host name is passing to the DNS client. Okay, so DNS client is inside the host machine of the user. Then each machine in the network knows one DNS server. DNS client sends the query to the DNS server, that name of the FTP server. That is, the DNS client then generate a query that it is propagated to the nearest DNS server. And the duty of the DNS server is to provide the IP address corresponding to the host name given by the host machine. Okay. Then the retrieved IP address is sent to the client application or the application layer program. Okay. So every machine is associated with a local DNS server. Then this local DNS server is responsible for providing the host name to IP resolution. Okay. So the DNS server respond with IP address of FTP server. FTP server means, since this is working the FTP client, it has to pass the IP address of a particular host to the FTP server. So the DNS server returns the IP address to the FTP client. Then FTP client passes the IP address to the next layer, or it is being propagated to the FTP server. So the DNS server responds with the IP address of the FTP server. Then DNS client passes the IP address to the FTP client. Then FTP client uses the received IP address, that is step number 6, and each of these numbers are associated with the event number represented in this figure. Okay. Then what is domain name space? As I said, domain name server is responsible for providing the mapping between the IP address and the host name. But there are a huge amount of task is behind the translation process. So for this, another concept is implied, that is domain name space. So the names associated with the machines must be selected from a namespace. That is, each host in the network will be having some names, and these names are stored in a huge repository known as namespace. That is known as a domain namespace. Then the names must be unique because the addresses are unique, because IP address is unique, so the name must also be unique. So the namespace can be organized as a flat or hierarchical. That means a flat system means there will be a name and there will be an IP address. Another name, IP address. Similar to that, all the host names and their respective IP addresses are stored as a table. It is known as the flat file system. So this namespace, that is in a repository of flat file, we are keeping the name and their IP addresses respectively, then it will be known as flat file system. Okay, so it may be arranged as either flat or hierarchical, but hierarchical is the one which is currently being using. This is just a concept only. It is very difficult to keep all the names of all the hosts in this world in a flat file is impossible, and it is not practical. So there is a hierarchical naming system for keeping the name, and this is known as a namespace, and each name is made up of several parts. Then first part can define the nature of the organization. For example, suppose we are using Amazon.com, then com stands for the nature of the organization. That means it is a commercial organization. Suppose there is uh, a host name that ends with edu. Then what does it mean? It means that the nature of the organization is an education institution. Suppose it ends with some country name just like IN. If it ends with .in, then what does it mean? It means that it is a host associated with a particular country. So the first part defines the nature of the organization in the namespace. Then the second part can define the name of the organization. So the first part is the nature of the organization. The second part is the name of the organization. For example, fisar.edu means FISAT is the name of the organization and EDU is the nature of the organization. Then third part can define the departments in an organization. mca.fisar.edu. Then MCA is the department name. That is, there is a hierarchical architecture for this keeping of names. The first part can define the name. Sorry. Then domain name space. So the same concept is explained as a figure here. That is, the namespace consists of a set of hierarchical names, and each name is known as the label, and each label is under a particular domain. That means if this is my computer, then my computer's name is under the domain department, and it is again under the domain, it is a part of the university, and if it is a part of a particular education system, then it will be under the edu domain, and final domain is known as the root server. Okay, so the root server is having no naming mapping, but it is just a redirection, it is a null value. Okay, then a tree structure is used to define the domain namespace, and each node in the tree has a label. Each node in the tree has a label which is a string. So all the labels, as you can see, all of them are representing some sort of strings. And root node is a label having null string. That is, root having no specific name. Its name is null. Then, children of a node have different labels, which guarantees the uniqueness of the domain name. As I said in the first slide itself, since the IP address is unique, the name must also be unique. So, how we can maintain the uniqueness of the domain name? Because suppose this is the root, there will be only one domain of edu kind. All the education domain, all the domains which is having the same nature will be stored under this edu. So, for this root, there is no child with the same name in this hierarchical level. Similar to that, under the EDU, there will be a single university of a particular name, and there won't be multiple child with the same name. Every child will have a unique naming convention, so that it can maintain the uniqueness of its domain name. And we can represent the domain name with the help of a computer dot b department dot t top university dot edu. This kind of representation of naming is known as fully qualified domain name or full domain name. Full domain name ends with the topmost server name. The topmost server here it is edu. So the fully qualified domain name FQDN is a sequence of labels separated by dots. So all the labels under the edu in this hierarchical fashion, a computer dot b department dot top university dot edu. This kind of naming convention is known as fully qualified domain name FQDN. Then this kind of domain naming is possible, but it is difficult to keep all the domain names in a single location. So the namespace are located and distributed in different geographical locations. So the root domain servers, it is a group of servers and located in many locations or um, many geographical locations will have multiple root DNS servers. All over the world, as per the textbook says, there are 13 or 14 DNS servers. Those books are maybe some more older versions, but I don't know how many DNS servers are there, but many domain name servers are there, and under each domain there will be a set of top level domains, TLD, top level domains are there. So com is a TLD, org is a TLD, edu is a TLD. Likewise, multiple TLDs are there, and each one will have a unique name. Then under each TLD there will be some domains, subdomains. Okay, so under Yahoo there will be multiple host devices connected. Similar to that, any number of domains can be created and everyone will be unique. Because the centralized storage is having the following drawbacks. Here it is said that it is if a single point storage, a single point failure may happen, then it will lose the DNS system itself. Then if we are representing with a centralized system, then the traffic will be high. If it is a local DNS server or root server, then it will be distant and centralized database. So the maintenance will be difficult. All these are the drawbacks or why we are not using the centralized DNS, why we are using the distributed DNS service. Because of these reasons, we are suggesting the concept distributed domain name spaces. Then, the information contained in the namespace must be stored somewhere, and it is stored in a distributed DNS servers and divide the whole space into many domains based on the first level. First level means top level DNS. Okay, based on this top level DNS, we divide the entire whole world's DNS servers into the following categories. Then DNS allows domains to be divided further into smaller subdomains, and each of the top level domain names having subdomains also. Then how a name is resolved. Mapping a name to IP address and a name address resolution. How it is mapping a name to address and address to name. Suppose DNS, as we know, DNS is a client server application. Suppose a host needs to map an address to name or name to address, and that host calls the DNS client resolver, or it is called a DNS client or resolver. So the first step is the host is taking the initiative for the request of a query, request of a translation. That means I have a name, I need your IP address. Okay. So this is known as the request generated by the DNS client. Okay. So the host generates a request to the DNS client. Then the resolver accesses the closest DNS server with a mapping request. But the resolver is not able to solve the problem itself. So it is accessing its nearest DNS server. So the DNS client of the host machine accesses the nearest DNS server with the same query that I need IP address but I have some name. Then if the server has the information, then it satisfies the resolver. Otherwise, normally if it is having it in its cache memory, or for multiple requests are coming and it is saved for a long period of time in the server, then it will be there. In most of the situations, same IP addresses will be stored in the cache, but in some situations it won't be there in the local server. Otherwise, the local server refers to other servers to provide the required information. So the name resolution can be the name which can be provided by other servers too. So two different patterns are there. One is a recursive method, another is iterative method. In either of these methods, the name resolution can be solved. Then what is recursive resolution and what is iterative resolution? Here it is shown the recursive resolution. Suppose uh, ANET is an ISP or internet service provider, and my host is connected to this particular internet service provider anet.isp, and I request for a particular domain name, particular IP address of this particular domain name, and this domain is located somewhere in the world at a particular location, McGraw Hill Networks. Okay, so this is the ISP of this particular host machine, and the request is generated by the host system and it is sent to the local DNS server. That is the first step. Then if it is having the name, then it will return its IP address. But suppose we assume that it is not available with this local server. Then the same query is forwarded to the root server. Root server means topmost server. So the IP address of the root server is known to the local server. From this point onwards, all the communication will be based on the IP address, and all the servers knows the IP address of another server. but only the host person, the human interaction location. And only at this point, the user is not familiar with the IP address. He knows the name only. So the query is forwarded by the local server directly to the topmost root level server. But this root level server is having no mapping directory, or it is not having the actual mapping of the respective domain name provided by the source machine. So the duty of the root server is not to give give the host name back to the source, but it can identify which of the top level domain server will have the given IP address, or which among the TLD can have the respective IP address of the given name. So the root server will forward the same message, same query message to any one of the top level domain servers. Suppose the request generated by this particular person is dns.mcgrawhill.com, but this root server do not know the IP address of this particular mcgrawhill.com, but it can say that it is a com domain. So the root level server will forward it to the com server. Then com server will have a set of domains under its control. Then it can forward it to the respective requested McGraw-Hill network. Okay, so this top level domain name server com knows the subdomains under its control. So it will be forwarded to the respective ISP at its local server. Then the mapping of this particular mcgrawhill.com and its corresponding IP address, the mapping of this particular com will be saved at its local server machine. So this information, that is the required information, is available with this local server. Only thing is, root server is redirecting it to the person who is known about this server, about this whole mapping. So it is returning the message or returning the query with the respective IP address. That is 5 contains the requested IP address of the mcgrawhill.com, and the same IP is propagated back to the root server. Then again the root server is propagating the same, forwarding the same message back to the local server. Then local server is replying to the host with the exact or required IP address. Okay, this is how the recursive resolution works. The same thing is explained here. Assume that this is what the host connected to the system, and he requests for the IP address of this particular mcgrawhill.com. Then source is connected to net, and the host mcgrawhill is connected to mcgrawhill network. Then each step-by-step explanation. This is the request for the IP address. Then the resolver is having now such an IP address, so it is generating a query to the local DNS server. Then local DNS server is propagating it to the root server. Then root server shows the path where to get your IP address. Then this query is sent to the TLD, and TLD again propagates the same query to its local server. Then local server returns with the IP address. Then this IP address is sent to the root server. Then root server returns the actual IP address back to the source machine. And the next method is iterative resolution. Only difference between this recursive resolution and iterative resolution is that in case of iterative resolution, local servers are communicating each other. This step is an extra step, that is the query generated by the local host machine is forwarded to the local server is forwarding it to root server is having no information, so root server tells back the local server that you asked to domain name server. But in the previous where there is a connection from the root server to the top level domain. Instead of that, root server is saying that you just asked to TLD com. Then the local server request to the top level domain server that I need an IP address. then it says back that I don't have the IP address. You just ask to the McGraw-Hill network server or this local server. This is under the COM server. So it directs a path that you ask to somebody else. So the information from 6 to the McGraw-Hill is again the query generated by 1, query generated by 2, and query generated by 6. Sorry, one instead of 1, 2, 4, 6. All the queries 2, 4, and 6 all are the same queries. Then finally the result or the required information is given back by the local server to the requested local server, or the communication is between local servers. Okay, so this is what the difference between iterative resolution and the recursive resolution. This much only for the DNS. Thank you.